All right. Jeremy, do we want to talk about, did you see the
Yeah,
migrations thing that Jet just
I
posted?
I
What do you
looked
think?
into the database migration side. I don't think, from what I can tell, I don't think we're using the A2A database
We're
persistence
not.
layer. So,
We're doing it ourselves. We're doing
okay.
something, but we're not doing like
So we won't have to use their migration guide at the very least.
no, I think we just store blobs. Like if you look at the task store
Mm-hmm.
in task store. There we go.
So Kagent core A2A. Yeah.
Probably. Wait, Cadent Core internal A2A. No.
No,
Wait,
Kagent core source, Kagent core A2A.
Core sort. Wait, Agent Core. Where's
Kagent dash
Agent
core
Core?
slash source slash K.
No. Not in Python. In Go.
Oh,
In
in
Go,
Go?
there's there's something in
I
Go
thought
that
this was
actually.
A2A Python.
No, there is the A2A Python, but there's something in Go that actually stores it, right? Because it sends that information to a thing on the back end that actually stores it,
Oh,
right?
okay.
So there's the, fuck if I know where, but the manager maybe? No. Controller. I My guess is that it's in the HTTP server definitely has a tasks. Yeah, HTTP server has a tasks.
Okay.
And then that calls store task, database service store task. Task is a protocol.task, which is
Oh, I see.
set to which is set to the object from.
Artifacts.
You see what I'm saying? It's the
Yeah.
JSON object from. So I wonder, but how is that implemented in the actual database? Let's see here. I'll just share my screen. I'm clicking around.
Do it.
So can you guys see this
Mm-hmm.
ID? Yeah. Okay. So if we go to store task and then we find the implementations of store task, we have Postgres client, which just marshals and upserts it.
Mm-hmm.
So data is just a blob. So we don't need a migration there, which is nice.
Well,
Yeah, so I don't think we need like a migration on the actual like task data, and I also don't think like their script does that. So I look at the script I sent in the chat and also like the relevant one. I don't even think they really touch the script. So the according to what I've seen right now, like the compatibility for like the actual JSON blob is done in like the database interface provided by like the new version. So it reads so it adds a new column. So one of the migration thing I sent adds a new column that specify if it's 0.3
The
or
protocol
1.0.
version.
And
Yes.
based on that, like the actual Python code or Go code is gonna
Well,
parse it either as a Pydantic or protobuf JSON.
which
Got
is
it.
fine, but it depends on the order, right? So if you
Yeah.
upgrade the database, well,
But
in
we
their
don't need to.
example,
We don't need to touch the database, right?
oh yeah, I
That's the
guess
thing,
so. Yeah, no, you're right.
because ours is just data. It's just blob data.
Okay, well, it's good we're not using their database persistence then, because
Yes.
otherwise we would have a bit of a problem here.
Yes. But we are not. So this should be okay. So the work here is going to be basically a custom marshaller, right? Or something like honestly that, or is there a way that we can transition all of the current data to the new stuff? Like, how do they, Jet, like, do they return everything as like a typed union, or do they convert everything to V1?
I'm not too sure, but I think there's an option for convert or not. So in the zero downtime thing, there is an option for if you want to convert from like the Pydantic thing, Pydantic JSON to the new protobuf JSON. But I have to look like deeper into that.
Okay, I think we might need to convert.
I think the first step we have to do here is apply like the migration for the new column and drop like I think they
There's
drop
no
the
new
column.
column. We don't need to do that because we don't.
Oh, we don't have to do that?
We don't have a schema.
Oh,
This is our schema. It's just ID, data, and session ID. So
that's interesting.
so we don't. like, which is good. It works out in this case that we didn't put
We just
tasks.
we might need to do the step that they have. They say you can deploy the V1 code and configure it to write data in the V3 V.3 format. They have, it looks like, compatibility conversion code. Yeah. So then maybe we could like, yeah, you can't really convert it if it's in. What we might do, we'll have to see, but what we might need to do is have it dual write for a version, like each, like each format, 0.3 and 1 to a different column, and then swap it over in a subsequent release. We'll just have to see how it works.
Yeah, I wonder if we can convert, then, you know, there's really no reason, like, you know, we can just kind of have that code around. It's annoying. The other option is we just say like, hey, you have to run this. Like, we have a downtime upgrade where we say that you have to. Who is this? Why can't I? Is there someone trying to be let in?
I let him in.
Oh, the other option is that we have a downtime upgrade, where we say that you have to upgrade. You have to basically shut down, run the migration script, and then come back up.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, they have the code. They have the compatibility conversions code.
Do they have
Like,
it for Go?
That's a good question. I mean, here it is in Python. A2A going. Yeah, seems like it. I see V3 compat code as a.
I mean, it must be working actually, because I'm pretty sure the Golang code uses V1 today.
Yeah, it uses the V1 SDK.
Oh, so it just straight up doesn't it? Okay, yeah. So it's using V1 and Python's using V3.
V0.3.
But then how is the UI even working with Go? Because the UI uses 0.3.
Yeah, that's very weird. But I thought like the Golang V1 is not ADK V1. That's what I thought.
Yeah, I don't know. All right, Jet, you got a lot more research to do, buddy.
Oh, I think it's 0.3. It's not V1. Yeah, it's not V1.
What,
0.3. Yeah, the
Golang code?
Go sign. Yeah, the Go sign.
All right, well then we need to upgrade both.
Yeah, but they just. It's weird because they just shipped a. Oh no, wait, maybe that's JSON RPC 0.3. Weird. Yeah. protocol. Introduced a new A2A compatibility / A2A v0 package to provide comprehensive compatibility with v03 of the A2A protocol. This is what I was seeing on the A2A Go side. So
I think A2A Go has some like weird stuff. So if you look at this release I just sent, their like 2.0 version is actually 1.0 of like the protocol.
mhm.
So
But
yeah,
it seems
so,
like they automatically support, yeah, the very bottom part, backwards compatibility implementation is provided by that package. So I think that is how it's working. It just automatically has backwards compatibility, but maybe I'm wrong. Let's see. For example,
Does JavaScript do JavaScript and Python have the same? Because that would save us.
um,
And then we could tell people basically at some point during this next release, they have to migrate their database to the new format. And if they don't, then they're going to get broken or something. Then they might get broken later or something. And we can provide a script to do that.
yeah. Is it configured to support old, or is it just by default? Start old server. Agent card. Legacy executor. Yep. I guess you have some digging jet.
yeah.
I thought it might have been automatic, but the very last part of the release note is for an example backwards compatibility setup. And I just haven't read through the whole E2E test yet. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it seems like they do A2A client.new factory, passing in the argument with compat transport, which then does the compatibility.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, either way, we will at some point probably have to figure out like actual data migration and how we want to handle that. It's really complicated for like an HA setup.
Why?
So like if the code supports, or sorry, if the new migration is backwards compatible with old code, then you can do the migration first. And then the old code in the other two instances can still run against it. But if it's not, like the A2A Python stuff, at least if you were using their database persistence, then you have to start up all the new code supporting the old schema and then migrate the schema. Like,
Yeah, I
you have
think in
to
that
choose the
case, you
ordering.
need like migration jobs
Mm-hmm.
that are like separate from the life cycle of the Helm chart, right? That
Yeah.
that are just managed, and you just say, this is how we're going to do this, basically.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Or you do it that other way that I was mentioning, where it's like for a period of time you write to two different columns, one with v3 version data, one with v1 version data, or v.3
Yeah.
data. Yeah, and then the next release you swap to reading from the v1 at the same time. But obviously that involves its own complexity. Okay, and what was the other thing? So I guess you sent multiple API Python links. Okay, and then we talked about the cron job. Yeah. So the cron job stuff.
Yeah.
We
I just
haven't
wanted to
really.
start thinking through some of the. So basically, the question there that I had is like, if you look at that design, it's worth digging into for a second.
And you're showing. Okay, cool. Yep.
If you look at that design, I'll try and share it in a second. Yeah, if you look at that design, it talks specific, and then at the PR, what it does is it creates a new CRD called a scheduled run, and it manages the cron itself. Like it basically makes Kagent manage the cron, and then what it does is it uses an agent ref to send a request to a given agent on that at that time. But I actually think that that's the wrong model, because I think like it makes I think it makes it so that you have to have these agents running when they don't really need to be. So like the for example, if instead of using an agent ref, you did it more like an actual Kubernetes cron, like an actual Kubernetes job, right? We call it like a one shot or something. And rather than calling out to an agent, it just spins up an agent, right? Like in a job, like literally in a Kubernetes job, runs it, and then saves the result. And you could do that on a schedule, right? You could just implement it with a cron and a cron job, right? And then rather than actually needing to have an agent running all the time just to hit it as a cron, right? You just spin it up for that purpose, and then it spins down when it's done. And I also think that's closer to like the architecture we've talked about with like, sandboxes and serverless agents and things that, rather than keeping these agents running all the time when they don't necessarily need to be, right? You just run them for the thing that you need.
I mean, it sounds
Yeah.
reasonable. I'm just trying to think through like the UI side of that. So you probably want a separate area to track those conversations, since you can't actively chat with those
Correct.
agents.
I mean, those really wouldn't be conversations, right? They'd be like,
Yeah, and that's also kind of odd, because in some, let's say it found an issue, right? Let's say your cron job was to look at Kubernetes and see if there are any crashing pods on an hourly basis or whatever. Then the result is just like a Slack notification or something, but then you have to get all the context again in a new agent to like actually.
You'd have to do that anyway.
Yeah.
You have to do that anyway because their context isn't shared, right?
But if it was a long-running agent, like I think
you still couldn't chat with it in that session because that session is owned by the cron. You could fork that session, right? Like you could spawn a new session potentially, right? Or something. And this is right. This is the point. It's like then this is exactly the thing, right? Is it's like, what are the actual semantics? Like, does the cron then create a conversation that you can have with it? See, this is a good point, right?
Mhm.
Like, what's the follow-up behavior, right? Is it that, okay, now that this thing has happened, you're then able to continue the conversation, but
Mhm.
then the ownership transfers from the cron to you, right? Because sessions can only have one owner.
No, that makes sense. Unless, well, okay, so then the other thing is like, it kind of feels like an on behalf of sort of thing. Like the cron is the cron session is, sure, it's owned by like Kagent in some ways, but it's like someone set it up. You know, it's not like Kagent system set it up.
That's fine. But again, it's still, yes. So you could give the ownership to that person, but
Mhm.
it's still like if a session can be executed by two parties at the same time, that's a
Mhm.
problem.
Sure, agreed. Yeah, and it could be like, hey, this is our team's, cron for tracking, Kubernetes status or whatever. Anyone on the team could get the Slack notification, and then you need to be able to, go and reference it. And it's like, oh, X person's
Right.
out of office. They can't, we can't do anything about it with that session. So yeah.
Right. It's like I feel like maybe what needs to happen then is that it needs to create like an artifact of some kind, and then you can spin up a new session with that artifact. Or
Yeah.
you can fork its conversation into a new conversation somehow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, like you can do it just spinning up your own separately and giving it the context manually, but like it's not as clean and like clean of a user experience. So
Yeah. But again, you can't have multiple owners, so it needs to
yeah,
be like, if you have like, for example, let's say you have, the only way you could have multiple people in a chat is if let's say you had like a Slack channel where
mm-hmm.
there was a bot in that channel and that bot was Kagent or something, right? And you had an incident occur and Kagent reports it, into the channel, and then you want to communicate, you know what I mean, with Kagent and
Mm-hmm.
ask it questions
Yeah, I
about what
guess it
happened.
makes me wonder how that would work with like just the general like Telegram or other channel. Like if you had that set up.
No, I'm torn. This is an interesting use case. Yeah, I think regardless, you need the ability to fork it. So yeah, maybe you do need the agent. You can't do it the way I was thinking. Fuck. I was really hopeful that would work, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it could still be possible. We just have to have a different way to fork it.
No, but it'd be more annoying because in order to fork it, you need the agent running. So you'd have to start a new agent or a new session, basically. Okay.
Well, if you mean like forking the chats, you don't actually need the agent running.
But well, you don't need the agent running to fork it, but you need the agent
Yeah.
running to communicate with it once you've forked.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
So yeah, I guess we have to figure out like, yeah, if you have, how in Kagent you would communicate.
Oh, I see. I mean, okay, let's take our like Kate's agent, for example. Instead of creating a separate agent that is targeted by this like cron and then gets spun up, could you just spin up an instance of the Kate's agent? And then you have your long running one for like normal chats, and then you spin up this instance.
But why would you have both? I mean, you might as well just hit the.
I guess so.
the
Okay, fine.
existing one. At that point, you might as well just hit the.
Well, okay, yeah. And I guess you can't fork. I assume everything has to match to be able to fork correctly. Like you have to have the same model.
No,
Is
not
that the
not
case?
necessarily. No, that's what I'm saying. You just need all the same, and you just really want all the context in the conversation. Forking is just one way to do that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hmm. So the idea with the ephemeral agent then is just so that you can have no agents running, like, or you don't have to have an instance of a cron agent running perpetually to be able to trigger a cron on it.
Exactly. I think it's a different use case, right? But if you want to, yeah. All right. I'm pretty convinced that it needs to be an actual, like something that can be spun up right afterward as well.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. I feel like if you fork it, you could still spin up one to chat against, but then like when does it get spun down?
yeah, that's the exactly. Okay. Let's see. So what? Oh, producing a diagnostic report. All right.
And then this was kind of like, this feels like it's a step towards workflows in general.
Yeah, I disagree. I mean, we need workflows anyway, but I don't necessarily think this is a step in that direction.
I just think you could have, well, like with triggers, you could then say, oh, well, there was an issue. Now I'm going to spin up another agent to actually fix the issue, and I'm going to spin up a second agent to, update the maintenance page, or like, I don't know, just.
Yeah, but that's irrelevant to this, right? That's like the actual agent that's happening under the hood is unaffected by this, right? When it's called.
Sure. I guess what I'm getting at is like in a workflow context, you could have it manually triggered or cron triggered as well. So I was just trying to see if there was a relation there that made sense to dig into, but maybe not.
No, but I do think like, yeah, the ability to chat is really important. So it kind of, I think we have to do, unfortunately, I think we have to go with this model. Blarg. Okay. All right. I'm convinced. I'm sad, but I'm convinced. Which just means we're gonna have to own the cron logic. Okay. All right.
I'm like so torn because I feel like there should be a way to do this still, even if it's ephemeral.
No, I mean the agents need to be ephemeral, not the schedule, not the cron. So I think that's, and we're gonna move in that direction anyway. So I mean they're gonna be stateful, but ephemeral simultaneously.
Okay.
So. All righty. Sounds good. I think we're at time. So unless anyone else has anything, I think we can let everyone go.
I have one more thing. Just I remembered what video was interesting me the other day at the that I watched was the sub agent PR
Oh yeah.
have.
Yep.
I was kind of like whenever I saw that you had created that, I was like, wait, what the heck am I doing? Because I have like a coordinator agent and I have a specialization agent, and then I have kind of like an evidence gatherer like agent. And then I was like, okay, this works really well and it's elaborate and like, I mean, to my eye. But then as I heard your conversation about how it's more efficient for it to be happening within its own like process, and that it's possible to have sub agents without necessarily needing to delegate to another via A to A. I was like, like maybe I'm going about this like wrong, but I'm just going about it with what's available. Like, so I don't know. Like, I was really interested. Like, I've taken a look at that PR and I want to dig into it more.
Yeah, I mean, frankly, I would love for that PR to merge, but I need to get Jason to pursue it further. It's just not, it's just not ready yet. There's some open questions still that he needs to answer. So
I guess my only question in the meantime is, would you advise against like making use of like, I guess, multi-agent in the way that I was like describing earlier, like kind of separating the role in this way so that, whenever, let's say, another team creates their own specialization agent or coordinator for a different use case, that they could still continue to use like a kind of a more like purpose-built agent whose job is nothing more than to leverage inference with like its own model, like that, like ideally the company owns, so that it doesn't cost as much, but it's just literally grabbing, doing tool calls like to Kubernetes or Prometheus or whatever, and then giving it back to like a higher level model, like, or agent combination. Like, I don't know. Am I thinking about this? Like, am I overthinking it?
I think you're not going to like my answer, but the reality is that there is no right answer, right?
Mhm.
Like, everybody is thinking through all this stuff at the same time. And you're kind of just going to have to go with, like, try stuff out and see what works best for you.
Mhm.
If that makes sense. And then as things evolve, right, things are moving quickly. So as things evolve, like, like, it's important to keep track of what's going on and, keep up to date and sort of, do, and edit your practices as things change. But generally, I think it's important to just, like, we're in the period of still, like, trying things and, like, seeing what works best for you. I wouldn't worry too much about, like, if focusing. Yeah, that's what I would say. I would say, like, Kagent is like it's a framework, right, for you to try things, and, like, as it gets better, we'll, as we release changes and modifications and improvements, like, you should pick those up. But I wouldn't, I would definitely, like, say that everything we release is good to use, and it might get better over time. But yeah.
I have one last question related to that, unless I'm drawing it
No. What's up?
So I guess as far as like that flow that I am currently like making use of, the coordinator agent is the one where you can, in the UI at least, review all of the conversations and then dig into like when it delegated and how it did, until you get a response ultimately. But what I feel would be intuitive is that whenever you go into these other agents, like it's like go into one of the other agents to see, I guess, these kind of like more atomic like conversations, like accruing into that view. Is that something that's been asked about before, or like is it intentionally like self-contained? Like, what context is that is delegated to from another agent? It wouldn't. It's not supposed to show up in a separate agent's, I guess, conversation history. Like, I don't know.
So I do believe we have nested, Jet. I know. I'm pretty sure you added this, right? We have nested conversations now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you can see the conversations, the nested conversations that are happening within that. But, like, it fundamentally, a sub agent is really about, like, it's not like the actual internals of the conversation are potentially relevant from an evals perspective, but they're not. I don't think they're super relevant from a, like, moment to moment in terms of your conversation with the parent agent.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like, they're really an implementation detail of whatever is going on between those two agents. The outcome is really, like, what's important from that top level agent's perspective.
Okay. Yeah. I think that does make sense.
Yeah. So and also, like, because these things can get nested, you don't want to over-index on like checking the tree because it'll totally muddy up your conversation, right? Because all of a sudden you'll be trying to trace down like your UI just becomes a tree of content. So you need to be careful about how much you expose.
Okay.
But that's exactly what evals are for, right? So that you understand better what really happened in those interactions.
Cool.
Cool. All right. Any other? Any other questions? All right. Well, I think we can jump off for today. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks Evan for coming. It was great meeting you.
Yeah.
And hope to see everyone soon.
Later.
Bye.